1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get punked, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in they Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the Hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters don't move.
So Lucky, the podcaster from the podcast Hood Stocks, has issued an apology to the black community for what many deemed disrespectful, insensitive comments, right? So if you're not familiar, let me just give you a quick background story on this. Lucky was interviewing a female guest on his show. He asked her, pretty much to sum it up, if she found Blueface the rapper attractive. And then he goes on to say, you know, Blueface, African American, booty scratcher. You had a lot of black people who were upset, who felt that those were disrespectful or insensitive comments. And then there was a whole lot of hoopla surrounding that, right? But first and foremost, let me show you guys the apology he has issued to the black community.
Yeah.
Hey, we got enough adversity on the streets. This pop-up right here has been peaceful and it's been successful. And I thank God for that right there. You know what? There's too much shit going on in the streets for us to be going at it with each other over fucking stupidity. You know what I mean? I'm gonna hold myself accountable for my shit. Hold yourselves accountable for your shit. And let's move forward. With that said, love and respect to everybody, all the supporters. I love you guys, man. It's the holidays. Let's take care of our family. Let's worry about our family. Let's think about what we're gonna do next year. You know what I mean? To pick each other up instead of drag each other down. Shout out to all my dogs right here from Orange County to LA. You already know what to do right here, baby. This is Hood Stocks right here.
Now, some may feel that the apology is a bit vague or it's too late. He should have came out and issued the apology before. And so, you know, afterwards, it kicked up a hoopla after he made those initial comments, right? You had a lot of people, like I said, up in arms. You know, one main individual was a Crip from LA by the name of Spodyface. Spodyface came out and issued basically a challenge to this dude, saying that, hey man, I want to get in the ring with you. You know, I want to put hands and feet on you for the words that you said. And he pretty much issued him a MMA challenge. Let me show you just a small part of that video.
Nigga Lucky from Hood Stocks. What's up with you, bro? Yeah, I push peace, but I don't tolerate disrespect. So on behalf of me and my people, set that up. I need that. You a big guy, I'm a big guy. Let's do that. You hold it down for the Rasa, I'll hold it down for the Africans, bro. Don't turn it down. Let's get a bag up out of it, man. Let's show people, you know what I'm saying, we could do the things the non-violent way, homie. Hand-to-hand combat, MMA style. Because not only I want to put my hands on you, I want to put my feet on you as well. You real disrespectful over a camera. Put the bag up. We got the bag over here. Mano a mano.
So after he initiated that challenge, Lucky was having a pop-up, I believe, a couple of days afterwards, some type of event that he was having where he was going to be selling t-shirts and things of that nature. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he went on to say that, hey man, I'm going to be at this particular event. Here's the address to it. He says, hey man, I'm hoping everybody pulls up with good energy and pull up positive. But whoever pulls up, you know, and it's welcome to everybody, I'm going to match your energy, you know, so on and so forth, whatever, right? And so you had a lot of individuals, it all depends on, of course, what side the individual was on, right? You had a lot of Mexican dudes after he issued that, basically saying, hey man, I'm gonna be at this place on this particular time, you know, pretty much, I guess some people like to call it dropping his location. When Spodyface didn't pull up, you had a lot of Mexican dudes saying, hey man, the dude didn't pull up. If he really would have wanted it, he would have pulled up and got that challenge, got that one-on-one fade, or whatever it is that he wanted, right? Now let's keep it 100, man. For any of us that's really been in the street in any type of significant manner, pulling up to somebody's hood, somebody's event, so on and so forth, especially in this climate, is suicide, man. If I'm gonna be somewhere and I'm gonna have, of course, my homies, it's gonna be numerous ways out there to defend oneself, right? So let's just keep it 100. That would have been asinine, right, for Spody Face to pull up to that. I'm not defending Spody Face because he's black. I'm just stating the facts. And then let's keep in mind too, right, that Spody Face said something along these lines. Hey man, I want to have a one-on-one match with you, an organized event. I think he said something about getting to the bag, getting to the money. So he wanted to have a organized event where him and Lucky could handle the situation and it could not boil over into the streets and turn into something bigger than it looked like it could have potentially went behind what a lot of people viewed as disrespectful words, right? So was Spody Face wrong for not pulling up when this dude said, hey man, I'm gonna pull up here, pull up if you really want it? Even though Lucky didn't say that in those words, right? But a lot of people who was stoking the flames, that's how they took it. But yes, it would have been crazy for him to pull up, right? Just say he pulls up, right? Now, of course, you can't go pulling up to that event by yourself because you already know it's going to be a lot of Lucky supporters there, right? So let's just say you pull up with 4 people, right? Now, when those dudes had stated that, they had have got out there and went to fighting one-on-one, right? Let's just say any one of those individuals started getting the better of the other person in a street fight, you're going to have people on each side who are probably not going to be willing to let it go. And so, come on, man, that was crazy. And that's not what he even issued him a challenge of doing, right? He said, man, I want to get into mixed martial arts with you or whatever, right? But still in all, Spody Face chose not to pull up, right? And so, to me, in my opinion, man, I think those of us who got upset, did we have a knee-jerk reaction to that video? Just keep it in 100, man. It is possible, right? It's possible because we don't necessarily know his true intentions, right? And then a lot of us, myself included, and of course, I always get flack, man, because a lot of people don't like when you keep it real, right? But I always catch flack. It is what it is. A lot of people was not familiar with Lucky's podcast or his style of banter or his style of communication back and forth with his guests. After hearing what he said, I went and looked at his podcast, right? And I'd seen several days before he had interviewed a blood who was from the jungles, right? So, to me, that just says a little bit that, hey, man, he can't dislike black people too much because he's interviewing one on his podcast. Now, if we just gonna keep it 100, right, the majority of us have said something racially insensitive or derogatory, whether it was in a joking manner or whether it was not in a joking manner about another race. We have grew up, especially those who grew up in my era. I was born in the 70s, early 70s. We grew up with stereotypes, right? I had mentioned before, I have a good homie who I met in prison. He's Cambodian, and he has actually been to my house a couple of times when very few people know where I live, right? Me and my partner Pee-wee, man, shout out to Pee-wee if you're watching. We always joke with each other among racial lines. We laugh, we clown. That's what many of us grew up doing. I may say to my homie, hey man, you want something to eat? I ain't got no shrimp fried rice. And he might say, oh yeah, I know you got plenty of barbecue chicken with some pig feet. We laugh and we clown, right? So I say that to say, let's keep it 100, man. We have all said some things, man, that we wouldn't possibly want to say online because people may take it the wrong way, right? So let me just show you guys a small video that I seen of Lucky interviewing someone, a black brother, on his podcast.
Let me ask you something. Your silverware is, oh my bad, I didn't even need to ask you. It's a tortilla, huh? I don't know cockroaches from the winter could talk in the summer, baby. My bad. It's a rain. It's a rain. Cockroaches on the dance floor. Rain. Hey, let me say this.
this. Look. We come from a real era where we racist, we homophobic. About nobody, we disrespecting to be funny. It's all love though. It's all love and respect.
Let's open it for race.
Now let's not sit here and act stupid, play dumb, or none of that. Y'all saw the vibe that he has at times with some of his guests, right? You hear the black brother saying, "Hey man, I'm gonna ask you about your silverware." Oh, you ain't got no silverware. It's a tortilla. Then you have the Mexican dude come back with a joke about cockroaches or something. But the main thing I'm trying to get you guys to see is those dudes were on there. They were clowning. They was having a good time. They were saying things that may be considered racial stereotypes, but nobody got upset. Nobody got their panties in a bunch, man. And then he said something at the end like, man, I'm from the era where we clowned along racial lines. Everybody was homophobic and so on and so forth. And I definitely think that YouTube, man, social media and all this stuff, all this has this treat everybody right, and it definitely has softened the generation. This era of everybody gets a trophy. You know what I'm saying? When I was playing Little League, only the winners got trophies. Everybody don't get no damn trophy, man. And so, I say that to say, going back to Lucky's apology, when you have some individuals may feel that his apology was too vague, it wasn't timely enough, it came much too late, so on and so forth. If you look at this picture that I'm going to put up, he says, he has on the side of the picture something along the lines of, "To the brothers and sisters who I offended, I apologize, man." And so at the end of the day, it takes a big man to apologize. And we just going to keep it 100, right? Especially if you from the California climate and you have done some prison time and you have let even a small smidgen of that racial ideology trickle into your system, man. So, to come and apologize when you may have individuals of your race saying, "Oh man, you shouldn't have done that," is a very commendable thing. Let's just keep it 100, man. You're not going to have a lot of people get on YouTube and apologize to another race, especially if he feels there was nothing that he done wrong, right? So at the end of the day, man, the man apologized. So I say to the people that's not satisfied, because I seen where Blue Devil, I didn't read through the comments, so I saw where Blue Devil was addressing this issue in his video and saying you still had a lot of black people in the comments saying, "No, we not satisfied. You got to take fades," and at the end of the day, so on and so forth, man. I'm just keeping it 100, right? I spent a lot of time in prison, man. How many individuals are willing to go hop on that front line and catch them fades, put in work, and start a war behind a few words? And then 10, 15 years down the line, after your kids and got old, everybody just started dying, you walking in the cane, you realizing, man, I'm sitting in jail behind a damn YouTube comment. I mean, let's just keep it 100, man. A lot of dudes love to talk that talk, man. A lot of dudes say, "Hey, chill, you walking on eggshells, you being too soft." I don't have no problem at one point in time getting out there and putting my work in for whatever cause it was. Anybody that know me gonna tell you, man, I was out there doing my thing with that pistol. I went to jail squabbing, fighting, stabbing. I ain't never turned down nothing. But that don't mean that I can't mature. I can't intellectually elevate and see that when I see it's an issue that's small, an issue is small, regardless of whether it's with the Mexican or regardless of whether it's with whites or it's with your own race, regardless of whether it's with black people. That's why when I made the video, I said, "Hey man, we have bigger things to worry about," pretty much in terms of being overly concerned with someone else from another race saying something that we don't like. My opinion is that we are more likely and able to reach our own people and get at our own people and stop our own people from committing violence against our own people. We're more likely to reach them than we are or likely to reach another race who some feel they don't like us and they hate us just because. And that was my message. I'm not saying don't be concerned with what they said. I'm saying, man, let's work on us and tighten us up. Let's reach the ones that we can reach, and let's get at the brother so we can stop harming each other over senseless stuff. My mom stays over here, your mom stays over there, so on and so forth. That's all that I was saying, man. And Quickly, I want to address the situation because you hear a lot of people saying, okay, well, you know, a lot of Mexicans saying that, man, when Charleston White and Hellcat make videos, blacks don't step up, blacks don't say nothing. First and foremost, man, we all know Charleston White is a damn fool. He's an idiot. He's going to say anything, right? And most importantly, Charleston White and I believe Hellcat, they are not residents of the California community. So when they say something crazy, or let's just say you got a person from Virginia who says something crazy, say the person from Virginia comes to California, he has a negative experience with Mexicans in California, you know, Southern Mexicans or whoever. He goes back to Virginia, hops on the internet and says something stupid. Do the Mexicans expect for every black YouTuber to come and condemn this dude for saying something? This dude is not even in California. Don't let that go over your head, right? This Charleston White, Hellcat, so on and so forth, they are not even from California. So they have a little more, I guess, freedom they feel because they can say whatever they're going to say and then they go back to wherever they're from. And also not saying that we see every single thing that Hellcat and Charleston White says. I didn't even know who Hellcat was until people started making this decision. But of course, Charleston White, he disses black people. He talks crazy. If we remember the situation where the Houston rapper Little Ronnie got killed along with his 5-year-old daughter, Charleston White said, F that baby, F that dead baby. So, you know, sometimes Charleston White and these other dudes who say things cannot be held to the same standards as an individual who has to live and reside in the California community. Not saying that what they are saying is valid and, you know, we agree with what they're saying. I condemn all that stuff. Like I said, man, I do not agree with the blanket disrespect of any group or racial people. I'm just not that individual. And people get upset about that, man. But it is what it is, right? But at the end of the day, man, to end this video, Lucky came on here and he issued an apology to the black community. I mean, so as a man, what more would an individual want, man? If a dude wronged you in the penitentiary, and I keep saying that because I believe a lot of us are unfortunately bringing a lot of these prison ideologies back from prison to the street, these racial ideologies. If a person wronged you in the Los Angeles County Jail, where it is extremely racial from another race, right? And then he comes to you and he says, hey man, listen, my bad, I apologize if I offended you. What more does an individual want, man? Anyway, it's your boy 16 to Life. Resume normal program.